everyone.
Great.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. How was your holiday? Yeah, it was a very long holiday instead. Indeed. All right. So, you may got the email from student advice. So we will be having 4 makeup sessions starting today. And so it's today, Wednesday, Friday this week, and Monday next week. So, uh, okay. Holiday was really short. I don't think so. It's like 5 days for everyone, right? Well, I think everyone did the same thing. Sleeping and eating, including. Oh, I have no idea why my camera is not on. Anyways, oh no, you guys have been working? Oh, I've been dealing with grading and emails and also work. So yeah, it's just like half the holiday with me. All right. So let's start with today's lesson. Okay, let me just, oh, yeah, Samuel, I'm not so sure. Zoom said that it cannot detect my camera. And I think, yeah, I think like technically something is wrong with my laptop, I guess. But well, I think that it would be much better if we continue with the slides, and I will check on my camera later. Okay. All right. So last time, before the holiday, we covered about the segmentation and how to define target audience. So today we will be covering on how to develop pricing strategy and the pricing program. So the learning objectives for today is are to understand how the consumers process and evaluate prices, to understand how a company should set prices initially for products or services, to understand how a company should adapt prices to meet varying circumstances and opportunities. and to understand when a company should initiate a price change, and finally, to understand how a company should respond to a competitor's price change. So, what is pricing, or to understand what price is? So, price is not only just a number. Price comes in many forms and performs in many functions. So in the past, prices were set by negotiation between the buyers and the sellers. And well, bargaining is still prevalent in many parts of Asia today. So you may have known that in the past we used to trade, right? We used to trade goods. So the negotiation or the pricing was set by between the buyers and the sellers. For example, like if I sell you one chicken, I will, exchange in one duck properly. But then money comes. So then everything is being converted into money and price. So then with the development of the economy, so right now, the price is not only set by the owner of the company or by the company itself. The price needs to be set by multiple factors, including, well, the market situation, the economic growth, and even, the product share, or, the market share of that product or service. And of course, bargaining, well, in Vietnam, bargaining is still, well, I think it's still there in many markets, traditional markets, or what we call them wet markets. Of course, you cannot bargain in supermarkets because everything is like fixed price. But still, we do some bargaining in traditional markets, and to my mom and even to my grandmother, bargaining is an art until now. So, like I mentioned earlier, um, setting one price for all buyers is a relatively modern idea. Traditionally, price has operated as the major determinant of buyer choice, and price remains one of the most important elements determining market share and profitability. So, how do companies work on the pricing? So in small companies, well, prices are often set by the boss. Well, this is not really, this is just like in small percentage. But like for now, even for medium companies, pricing is handled by division and product line managers. Um, in some large companies, the top management sets general pricing objectives, policies, and effectively designing and implementing pricing strategy requires a thorough understanding of customer pricing psychology and a systematic approach to setting, adapting, and changing the price. It is a changing pricing environment right now because nowadays many firms are avoiding the low price trend and have been successfully in trading customers up to more expensive products and services by combining unique product formulations with engaging marketing campaigns. And yes, thanks to the internet, it is, playing partially in reversing the fixed price pricing trend. So as we all know, like right now, we tend to, like we are still priced focused. I mean,
Hết,
we're
hết
still
cái này về con mà.
money aware when it comes to buying a product or using a service. However, we did discuss many times about other factors that, may convince us to pay more. Like, for example, one of it is one of the factors is the experience, or the care that the company or the products, the value that the products and the services give us. So those are the things that might, right now, that affect on the pricing strategy of many companies. So let's talk a little bit about the consumer's psychology and the relation with pricing. So we recognize that consumers often actively process the price information, interpreting price in terms of their knowledge from prior purchasing experiences, formal communications, and prior purchase or online.
စကားနေရောက်ချင်နေပြီပတ်စံနေတစားမရှိဘူး
So
ပတ်နေ
which
တယ်
means that, they actively do their research
ဒီကသူက
through
အပြင်တော့
online
တပွင့်ရမယ်ကပြောမနေငယ်ငါတို့ဟောတော့လာဘူးတော့သူ
channels.
မရှိမှာဘူး
Um,
ကာ
sorry, someone-
ကာနဲ့ဟွာပြင်တယ်နည်းနည်းကိုဒီတောင်းမှာပေါ့တခုဆို
I'm
ဟိုကကောင်
sorry.
က तू ကအရင်ရှိလို့ကျင်တာဟာမတ်စ်
Okay, someone's mic is on. Okay. Okay. So, like I was saying, that the consumers, they continuously do their research on online and offline channels, and also they and also they might they might perceive the price based on, yes, on what you said, Samuel, on the product value, or on the product value, or the, I would say, the external or extra or additional values that the product or the service bring to the customer. So the purchase decisions are based on how the consumers perceive the prices. And what they consider is the current actual price, not the marketer's stated price. Consumers may have a lower price, threshold. Therefore, below which prices may signal like inferior or unacceptable quality. So again, this statement means that, the consumers will pay quite some extra attention to the value of the product or the service. How to reference the price? So when examining the products, the consumers often employ reference prices. In considering an observed price, consumer often compare it to an internal reference price or pricing from memory. So basically, reference price, when we buy anything, right? So when we buy a product, during the time that we do the research, we normally compare that, one same product, but in, let's say, different platforms or different distributor or different places that sell that product. And we kind of like compare not only the price, but also the benefits that comes with the product or the service. So again, we tend to, very much willing to pay the price based on how we perceive the value of the product. So if we put ourselves in the shoes of the consumers when we do the pricing, my suggestion is that, well, in my own experience, I normally have to do some little, like market research as well to see, whether like how much are are they selling the similar, similar products or similar services on the market, and what comes with it, like what can be like the extra or added value that you can put into the product when you set the price, that because the consumer are happy and willing to pay. So there is an external frame of reference normally posted as the regular retail price. All types of reference prices are possible, and when the consumers invoke one or more of these frames, their perceived price can vary from the stated price. So these unpleasant surprises can have a greater impact on purchasing power. So basically, with, like, okay, normal psychology, when, like when you research for the price and then you see that, like, there are some, how to put it? Okay. So let's say, one product, you see it on e-commerce versus when you see it offline. So in my experience, whenever I go and buy something offline, I mean like at the store or in the supermarket, it's it's like it's a little bit like higher. The price is like a little bit higher comparing to when you buy it online. Well, I do understand that for that product to be displayed in an offline, store, it requires a lot of, like extra costs, like, renting the place or, like the human resources, the staff that sell the products, etc. So the price might be, a bit higher when when you sell it online or e-commerce, where you have to, where you do not have to put a lot of money in the human resources or, in renting. But in some cases, in some stores, that for, one time that I was buying cosmetics, and in the store, actually in Gordian, the price that they are selling is actually lower than the one, than the price on their website. So, well, that unpleasant surprises can be both positive and maybe negative at the same time. So it's really our job as a marketer, like to make the communication more clearly, and to bring a more, I would say, a more positive experience to the consumers when, yeah, if they feel like, if they feel happy, like, when looking at the price, looking at the packaging, looking at the, I mean, like, the display of the product in store, those things can affect on their purchasing decision a lot. And in short, let's say if you think, if you look at the product and you say, okay, I think, this price is worth the thing, then you are doing good. You know that you have succeeded in setting the price. Yeah, that also link to the inferences between the price and the quality. Because many consumers use price as an indicator of quality. Well, it's true and it's not true at the same time. you know, like they do have that saying that, you know, the higher you pay the price, you know, the better the product that you get. But, you know, in some cases, that is not really true. You can pay a little less, but still can get, you know, like good quality products. But anyhow, this is like a very common perception of, you know, of most of the consumers, that, okay, higher price equals high quality. So that's why some companies would adopt the exclusivity and scarcity to justify the premium prices. For example, Tiffany and Co. For years and years, this luxury jeweler has, you know, has been, you know, being very exclusively expensive in selling their products. But, you know, in recent years, as I have watched them broaden its appeal to younger generations, but, you know, they must safeguard its, you know, their high-end image. So although that they are now having, you know, a more line of products that are a little bit like cheaper comparing to what they offer before, however, they still hold a very high-end and very exclusive and expensive as well image towards the customers. The price endings. So many sellers believe that prices should end in an odd number. So researchers have shown that the consumers tend to process the price in a left to right manner rather than by rounding them. The pricing cues like sell signs and prices that end in a 9 are less effective the more they are employed. Okay, I think that you may have seen, you know, signs like this, right? Like 0.99 or 4.99, especially, you know, when you walk into stores like H&M. You might see that a lot, that comes, you know, in a combo. So basically, we all think that, you know, prices ending in odd numbers might, you know, might have a higher effect on, you know, people buying it. But, you know, like, okay, to me, right, it should work. It still works, but only in some occasions, like for example, like sale season. Like if you put that, you know, sign of like 2.99 all year round, it would actually having a I would say a backfire kind of feeling, because, you know, it's kind of like I don't know, to me, right, when I see like 0.99, I do have a feeling that, okay, like why don't you just, you know, round them up? And why would you really, you know, like, well, give me back 1 cent, that kind of thing. So, but for some, you know, for some of my friends, they like it. They like the fact that, okay, like, you know, oh, this one is just like 99,000 Vietnam dong. So it's still cheaper. Like to them, it's still cheaper than 100,000. So that's like a normal psychology when, or we may call it like girls math, when we go, you know, when we go shopping. And to me, that's like one of the biggest trap that we normally jumped in. So how do you set the price? So a company or firm must set a price for the first time when it develops a new product and when it introduces its regular product into a new distribution channel or geographic area, and when it enters the bids on new contract work. So it is the responsibility of the company to decide where to position the product on quality and price. Most marketers have about 3 to 5 price points or tiers. Tiers. The firm or the company has to consider many factors when setting its pricing policy. Yeah, like the ones that I mentioned before. So here are the 6 steps procedure of how to set the price. So first, it is selecting the pricing objective. Well, the pricing objective, I mean, you need to really calculate or consider on, what are the goals that you want to do with the price. Because setting up the price, for example, just some simple consideration like, okay, so if you want to set the price high, you should consider that the quantity, the numbers of products that you sell out might not be high. And if you set the pricing, too low, yes, of course, you might sell a lot in quantity. However, you need to, forecast on, seeing whether if you set the price too low like that, if there is, like some chance or some time in the future where you have to adjust on the pricing because, who knows that the ingredients in might get higher and, the manufacturing price can get higher as well. So setting the price at the first place would need some objectives and goals to follow. Yeah, of course, the product testing also help in setting the price. And that's why, like for some of the companies, especially in, F&B and even FMCG, before setting a price for anything, they might have, that soft launching or, a soft introduction period where they test the market, where they test on, the willingness of buying or purchasing the product from the customer. All right. So the second step is to determine on the demands, of course. Well, you still need, well, for the market testing, you can also determine on the demand from the consumer as well. And from those, results, you can estimate on the cost. And besides that, you will need some referrals. I would say some referrals as well. Some referrals including the competitors' costs, the prices, and the offers. So once that you have all of that information, you can select a pricing method and determine on the final price. Yeah, these are the details of the steps. So for the objective, there are 5 major objectives: survival, maximum current profit, maximum market share, maximum market skimming, and product quality leadership. The objectives, if it is survival, the companies pursue survival as their major objective when they are black with overcapacity, intense competition, or changing customers' wants. This, please remember, this objective is just a short run because, like I said, if you set the price too low, it will affect not only in the sales but also in the belief of your consumer towards your product. Maximum current profit. So many companies try to set a price that will maximize their current profits by estimating the demands and costs associated with alternative prices. And then they choose a price that produces maximum current profit, cash flow, or rate of return on an investment, on ROI. So if your goal is to maximize or to maximum the market share, well, some companies believe that a higher sales volume will lead to lower unit cost and higher long run profit. So this practice is also called the market, penetration pricing. Well, if your goal is to set the price low, here are some conditions that favor setting a low price. If the market is a highly price sensitive and a low price stimulates market growth. Production and distribution costs fall with accumulated production experience, and a low price discourages actual and potential, competition. But again, short run, people, please remember, it's just a short term strategy. If your goal is to maximize the market skimming, companies or firms unveiling a new technology favor setting high prices to maximize the market skimming. And this is also called the market skimming pricing, where prices start high and are slowly lowered over time. So for this for this strategy or for this objective, mostly, companies that if you set out, let's say, I would say an average to high price, you will actually set your consumer pool very straight. Because well, if the price is from medium to high, of course that you would want to target those high income consumers. So once that you have that consumer pool, the next strategy is actually, kind of like lower the price over time, but be careful with this, because I've seen companies that did the same thing. However, they felt to, when they lower the price, their customers stop buying from them because they think that, well, the quality has gone down with the price as well. So basically, when you want to do any price change or, adjust any, like pricing strategy, be very careful. Study your customers first and study the market before making the decision. Product quality leadership. So a company might aim to be the product quality leader in the market, where many brands strive to be affordable luxuries products or services characterized by high levels of perceived quality, taste, and status with a price such as high enough to be out of the, well, just high enough not to be out of the consumer, like the consumer's reach. Well, trying to build the exclusivity and luxury with affordable price. And that to me, I've seen like a lot of like medium to high, like high end, medium to high end brands right now. They are following this strategy, or they have a different product line that, like for luxury brands, they have like a more affordable line that targets, like younger buyers, or to expand their market into a more accessible pool of target audience. So there are other objectives sort of pricing as well, that include the nonprofit and profit and public organizations. They may have other pricing objectives. So whatever the specific objective is, businesses that use price as a strategic tool will profit more than those who simply let cost of the market determine their pricing. Step number 2, determining the demand. So each price will lead to a different level of demand and therefore have a different impact on a company's marketing objectives. The relation between alternative prices and the resulting current demand is captured in a demand curve. So price sensitivity. Well, sensitivity. The demand curve shows the market's probable purchase quantity at alternative prices. And the first step is estimating demand is to understand what effects on the price sensitivity. Generally, and nowadays when the economic has been hit quite hard, the customer become more and more price sensitive to products that cost a lot or are bought frequently, like things that we normally buy, like for example soap or shampoo, or cooking utensils, or even cooking ingredients. Customers are less price sensitive to low cost items or items that they buy infrequently. Well, when they buy infrequently, they do not do their research frequently. Therefore, their pricing references will be narrowed. So yeah, it might lead to a less price sensitive attitude towards those items. And they're also less price sensitive when price is only a small part of the total cost of obtaining, operating, and servicing the product over its lifetime. Or we call it the TCO, the total cost of ownership. And the companies would prefer consumers who are less price sensitive. Well, we all expect them to be less sensitive, but be prepared because you will deal with a lot. A lot here, I mean, it should be around 70 to 80% right now of the consumers who are price sensitive nowadays when it comes to shopping. So we did talk about the demand curves. So most companies attempt to measure the demand curves using several different methods. And one of them is doing the survey. The surveys can explore how many units consumers would buy at different proposed price. Also, you can do the price experiments that can help you to vary the prices of different products to see how the change affects on the sales. You can also do the statistical analysis of past prices, quantities sold, and other factors that can reveal the relationships like longitudinal or cross-sectional. Price elasticity of demand. So the marketers need to know how responsive or elastic the demand would be to a change in the price. So if the demand hardly changes with a small change in price, we can say the demand is inelastic. If the demand changes considerably, we can say the demand is elastic. If the demand is elastic, sellers should consider lowering the price. A lower price will produce more total revenue as long as the cost of the producing and selling more units do not increase disproportionately. Well, the price elasticity depends on the magnitude and direction of the contemplated price change. Substantial with a large price change, and it may differ for a price cut versus a price increase. And there might be a price indifference band within, where the price changes have little or no effect on that indifference. And long run price elasticity may differ from short run elasticity. Okay, step number 3. How do you estimate the cost? So once that you have done your research on the demand, you will be able to set a ceiling on the price that the company can charge for the product. Cost set the floor. So you have the maximum and the minimum range. So a company's cost take two forms: the fixed one, the fixed cost, and the variable cost. So when talking about the cost, we have fixed costs, also known as the overhead. The fixed costs are costs that do not vary with the production or sales revenue. Variable costs vary directly with the level of production. Total cost consists of the sum of the fixed and the variable cost for any given level of production. So the average cost is the cost per unit at that level of production. Management wants to charge a price that will at least cover the total production cost at a given level of production. To price wisely, or I would say to price wisely, the management needs to know how it costs vary with the different levels of production. Well, this means like when setting the price, you should calculate the price, with okay. So this means that whenever, if if you produce more or even you produce less of that product, it would not affect on the price. So again, the price needs to be in between of the fixed and the variable. So in order to, calculate or to estimate the real profitability of dealing with the different retailers, the manufacturer needs to use activity-based accounting, which is called the ABC. For ABC accounting tries to identify the real costs associated with serving each customer. And the key to employing the ABC effectively is to define and to judge the activities properly. Accumulated production, well, the experience curve, or what we call the learning curve, decline in average cost with accumulated production. Experience curve pricing is actually, kind of like have major risk in term of it might give a product a cheap image, and it assumes that the competitors weak the followers. So just keep in mind that all the costs can be improved. So yeah, just to say that do not panic when you set your first price and it doesn't work, because like Samuel said earlier, the market testing is one of the essential part when you set out the price. And the first cost might work or might not work, but do not worry. You still need to watch how the consumers react to that pricing. And with the right marketing strategy, right communication, you should, always, I would say, keep track on the reaction from your customers through, especially in the first period of time, and also throughout a period of time, to see whether if you need to change the price or to adjust it. Target costing, well, costs can change with production scale and experience, and they can also change as a result of a concentrated effort to reduce them through target costing. And the objective is to bring the final cost projections into the target cost range. So during the slides that we talked about, how to determine on the demand, setting the cost, we talked a lot about the competitors. So analyzing on the competitors' cost, prices, and offers will give you a broader look of how you should set your price, and also to see and to consider the pricing as your competitive factor. So you should consider the nearest competitor's price And the introduction of any price or the change of any system price can provoke a response from your customers, competitors, distributors, suppliers, and even the government. So how can a company anticipate a competitor's reaction? One way is to assume the competitor reacts in a standard way to a price being set or changed. Or, well, in my case, I use social listening quite a lot. And, like whenever I go search for a product or the pricing, I actually go deeper into like smaller communities or groups that because like on even on Facebook we do have that small groups or small groups of sellers that sell the same product, and we have like different like pricing or price set in that, and that's like another way that I use to, like, let's say, to study about a competitor. So once that you have all the information, the other information, yes, some more price dropping or sales dropping, but like we cannot really see that when we are an outsider, right? And with the competitors, the other way that actually is like a more time consuming way is, yes, to actually watch the whether if they run a lot of discount or any clearance program, because if they run a lot of discount on specific product, that means that the customer are not buying them. So that's like another way, like you have to observe it. So given the consumer's demand schedule, the cost function, and the competitors' prices, the company is now ready to select a price. Well, of course, that you need to collect all of those data in the first 4 steps in order to make this decision. So you remember how we talk about setting the maximum price and the floor to the price? And well, the competitor prices and the price of the substitutes provide an orienting point. And also the customer's assessment of unique features established on the price ceiling as well. So there are 6 price setting methods: markup pricing, target return, perceived value, value pricing, going rate, and auction type. You can calculate on the markup pricing by combining the product's cost with the standard markup. And remember to ignore the demand, value, and competition. Well, why is it popular? Because the cost easier. Well, it's easier to estimate the cost than the demand. And prices similar if all firms use the same method, and it is viewed as fair to both the seller and the buyer. So this is like an example of how you calculate. The target and return pricing. that the price that would yield its target rate of return on investment, the ROI, the target return price would equal on the unit cost plus, well, the sum of desired return multiplies with invested capital and divided by the unit sales. It ignores the price elasticity and competitors' prices, and the total cost would be an equal of fixed and variable costs. In the perceived value pricing, an increasing number of companies based on their price of the customer perceived value, where they must deliver the value promised by their value propositioning, and the customer must perceive this value the same way as the company. So the key to perceived value pricing is to deliver more value than the competitor and to demonstrate this to prospective buyers. So this is, well, actually this pricing strategy has been done by quite a lot of brands recently, where they try to sell the value of the product, well, where they try to sell the value rather than to sell the product. So the perceived values is made up of several characteristics, including the buyer's image of the product performance, the channel deliverables, well, the warranty quality, how you support the customer after sale, the supplier's reputation, the trustworthiness of the product, and the self-esteem. Yeah, right now, yes, thank you, Samuel. Most companies now, they are trying to sell the value rather than the product. So that's why it mark up quite the price quite high. Like for example, not only in like fine jewelry, but also in like electronics and, well, laptops and phones as well. So talking about value pricing, recent years, several companies have adopted this strategy. They win loyal customer by charging a very low price for a high quality offering. Well, value pricing is not a matter of simply setting lower prices, but it is a matter of re-engineering the company's operation to become a low-cost producer without sacrificing quality. So lowering pricing significantly helps to attract a large number of value-conscious consumers. EDLP and high-low. Well, EDLP stands for, well, everyday low pricing. It is an important type of pricing, well, a pricing strategy that takes place at the retail level. So you may witness a lot of, supermarket chains that have been doing this EDLP, where they have a specific hours in a day where they sells, where like where they lower, like let's say 50% on the vegetables, like Saigon Co-op, like Co-op Mart is doing. And for Bát Hóa Xanh, I think that they have the happy hour like for meats from like 5 to 6. So basically that most of the retail channels have been applying that strategy for quite some time. And a retailer who holds to an EDLP pricing policy charges a constant low price with little or no price promotions and special sales. In high-low pricing, the retailer charges higher price on an everyday basis, but then runs frequent promotions in which prices are temporarily lowered below the EDLP level. So basically, these two type of strategy would have, I think it would have like different pros and cons, but it would really depends on how do you set your objectives. Like, do you want like to have like a stable income, or would you go for setting the high, like the price high, and then run like seasonal promotion like most of the fashion brands are doing right now? Well, yeah, like I mentioned before, these two pricing strategy have been shown to affect consumer price judgments. Deep discounts can lead to lower perceived prices by consumers over time than frequent shallow discount, high-low, even if the actual average are the same. Some retailers have even based their entire marketing strategy around what could be called extreme everyday low pricing. The fifth pricing strategy is called the going rate. So in going rate pricing, the company bases its price largely on the competitors' prices. And the company might change or might charge the same or more or less than the major competitors. Going rate pricing is quite popular where costs are difficult to measure or competitive response is uncertain. Well, you can see this pricing strategy if you follow on the gold retailer recently. So many of the gold retailers, they are based on real-time price of the world gold price, right? But in Vietnam, when they set the price, it's actually got affected by not only by the gold price, the actual gold price in the world, but also with the competitors changes as well. And the last one is called the auction type pricing. So in the auction price type pricing strategy, it includes three types. The English auctions are called the ascending bids. One seller, many buyers, top price. The Dutch auctions or descending bids, one seller, many buyers, starting high price, slowly lowered the price. Or one buyer, many sellers, you start out with the lowest price. And the sealed bid auctions, one bid and others bid secret. Well, step number 6, selecting the final price. Pricing methods narrow the range from which the company must select its final price. In selecting the price, the company must consider additional factors, including the impact of other marketing activities, company pricing policy, gain and risk sharing pricing, and the impact of the price on other parties. Talking about the impact of other marketing activities, the final price to reflect the brand's quality and advertising relative to competition, average quality, high advertising and premium prices. You can set on higher price for non-products. You can, well, when you have a high quality product and good advertising, you can actually set on, the highest price, or you can achieve on the highest price. But well, with low quality and advertising, you might expect the lowest price. But the price is not as important as quality, that's for sure. And other benefits in the market offering. So some company they have the pricing policy. So the price should be consistent with the pricing policy, but not averse to pricing penalties. The pricing departments, the decisions and policies must be implemented thoroughly to ensure the prices are reasonable. The gain and risk sharing pricing. The buyers may resist accepting a seller's proposal because of highly perceived level of risk. So the seller has the option of offering to absorb part or all of the risk if he does not deliver the full promised value. The impact on price, the impact of price on other parties. Management must also consider the reactions of other parties to the contemplated price by asking, some questions like, how will the distributors and dealers feel about it? Will the sales force be willing to sell at that price? Do they really believe in the product? How will the competitors react? Will the supplier raise their prices when they see the company's price? Will the government intervene and prevent this price from being charged? Or if marketers need to know the laws regulating pricing in the local market. So as mentioned before, the price can be adapted or can be changed or can be adjusted. So companies usually do not set a single price, but rather a pricing structure that reflects variations in different market circumstances. So here are some factors that might affect on adapting the price, including geographical demand and cost, market segment requirements, purchase timing, order levels, delivery frequency, guarantees, service contracts, and other factors as well. So as a result of discounts, allowance, and promotional support, a company rarely realizes the same profit from each unit of a product it sells. When we talk about geographical pricing, that includes the cash, counter trade, and barter. So this geographical pricing involves a company in deciding how to price the products to different customers in different locations, states, or country. Should the company charge higher price to distant the customer to cover the higher shipping costs or a lower price to win additional business? This is actually one of the questions that you should ask yourself when it comes to geographical pricing. And how should exchange rates and the strength of different currencies be accounted for? I mean, when exporting the product into other country, logistics and exchange rates are two of the biggest factors that might affect highly on the pricing. And another issue is how to get paid. So many buyers want to offer other items in payment, a practice known as counter trade. So counter trade may account for 15 to 25% of the world's trade and takes several forms under barter, compensation deal, buyback arrangement, or offset. In the price discount and allowances, you might think of adjusting the price and give accounts and allowance for early payment, volume purchases, and off-season buying. The discount pricing has become the modus operandi of a surprising number of companies offering both products and service. So some product categories tend to self-destruct by always being on sale. Keep in mind that, all right? Not, always putting your products on sale, running like constantly promotion, do not mean that it would increase on the sales and help you to survive. But discounting can be a useful tool if the company can gain concessions in return. The sales management needs to monitor the proportion of customers who are receiving discount. So higher levels of management should conduct a net price analysis to arrive at the real price for the offering. Promotional pricing. So here are some techniques to stimulate on early purchase. Include the loss leader pricing, special events, cash rebates, low interest financing, longer payment terms, warranties and service contracts, psychological discounting. Differentiated pricing, or, price discrimination. So the product and the service sold at two or more prices that do not reflect proportional differences in the cost. So there are three types or three level. The first degree is price to each customer demand intensity. The second level or the second degree, it charges buyers less, but aim for larger volume. The third degree is different charges to different classes of buyers. Some conditions that you should consider. First is a market segment table, different demand intensities. Low price cannot be resold to high price. So again, it is actually a one-way strategy that you can only set high and get lower, but you cannot set a low price and then increase the price. People would stop buying them. The competitors cannot undersell in higher price. And segmenting costs, not more than extra revenue, no resentment and ill will, and not Well, the conditions when it's not illegal. Okay. Next thing, it is initiating and responding to the price change. Well, as mentioned before, setting one price for the rest of the product's life is not really, well, realistic in most of the case. So in some situations that the companies might face, that they need to think of cutting the price or rising the price. So in several circumstances that might lead a company to cut the price, including assessing the plant's capacity, or the company may initiate a price cut in a drive to dominate the market through lower cost, meaning that they would lower the price in order to target a more massive or a bigger market share. Or, well, either the company starts with lower cost or initiates price cuts in hope of gaining market share and lower cost. So be careful with some traps. It might have the low quality trap, fragile market share trap, and shallow pocket trap. Well, in case that the company needs to increase on the price, well, in an ideal world, a successful price increase can raise profits considerably. A major circumstance provoking price increase is cost inflation. So rising the cost unmatched by productivity will gain squeeze profit margins and lead company to regular rounds of price increase. Companies often raise their prices by more than the cost increase in anticipation of further inflation or governmental price controls in a practice which is called the anticipatory pricing. Another factor that can lead to price increase is over demand. Well, if luckily that you got more demands from your customers of that product, well done. Yes, you can increase the price. The price can be increased in the following ways, including delayed quotation pricing, escalator clauses, unbundling, or reduction of discount. In initiating price increase, you need to decide the sharp price rise once or break it into smaller price rises in several times. Avoid looking like price googer and premiums of strong brands, not excessive. Some techniques that help you with the price increase, or techniques that help you to prevent sticker shock and hostile reaction from your customers. You should consider fairness surrounding the price increase. Give them some advance notice. And you should explain, as a brand, It's okay, and it's quite common for brands to explain to the customer why are we raising on the price. And it will be much safer if you make the low visibility price moves, like, which means that, break it into like smaller increase. Like for example, in month one, you can increase it by $1, and in month two, you can try and increase it by $1, which will not give a shock to the customers, and they, like it's some of the customer think that that would be considered as cheating. But to me, if you increase the price slowly like that with a reasonable explanation, then I think that it would make sense for the consumer, and it gives them the time to absorb the change as well. How to make the low visibility price moves? You should eliminate discounts and increase the minimum order sizes. Curtail production of low margin products and create new economy brands. How should a firm or how should a company respond to a price cut initiated by a competitor? Well, it varies with the situation. So the customer usually question the motivation behind the price change. How the price cut can be interpreted? Well, there are few ways that we can explain it. For example, the item to be replaced by the new model, or we call it like clearance sales, right? Or the item is not faulty, is not selling well, or the company is under like financial trouble. So the price, well, to come down further, and the reduction of the quality. How do you interpret on the price increase? Well, it normally deters the sales, and when the item is hot, well, when the demand is higher. Few companies, homogeneous products, and buyers highly informed. How to anticipate the competitor's reaction? Well, you can react in a fixed way to price changes and treat price change as a challenge and react accordingly to self-interest. Different competitor interpretations on price cut. Well, to company, it is to steal the market, or whether if you are doing poorly or try to boost a sell, or the company wants industry to reduce the prices to stimulate total demand. The price cut in the homogeneous market, it enhance on the augmented product and reduce the prices. When the price hike in the homogeneous market, for others, it is unable to match it unless the price increase benefits the industry. What happens to the non-homogeneous market? So why does the competitor change the price? Planned price change, is it temporary or is it permanently? What will happen next? the market share profit if does not respond. The competitors and others firm responds to each other. So the market leaders, well, so the price cutting by smaller firms trying to build a market share. When facing with lower price brands, a brand leader can consider maintaining the price and add in the value for the product, or can consider reducing the price or increase the price and improve the quality, or launch a low price fighter line. Also, the company has to consider the product's stage in the life cycle, the product's importance in the company's portfolio, the competitor's intention and resources, the market's price and quality sensitivity, the behavior cost with volume, and the company's alternative opportunities. So, just a memo, how to fight the low-cost rivals. The first approach to competing against the cut price players is to differentiate the product or service through various means. Well, various means like by establishing new lines of products or adding in the values for existing products, or like we discussed before, increase the quality and increase the value. Secondly, companies must not differentiation tactics in isolation. Companies must be able to persuade the customers to pay for the additional benefits, and companies must first bring the costs and benefits in line. Okay, that is actually the slides for today's session. Do you have any questions for me? Hello, you still there? Do you have any concern? Anything that you need to ask? Thank you, Pinlai. Okay, I'm not a sir. Oh, so Samuel, if you're asking my own experience, I can share a little bit about my experience with my soap vendor. So basically, how to react to a competitor's price, uh, as mentioned in the slide, but I think that it is not clear enough. There are many ways that you can react, but again, to me, right, there are few factors that you should consider. Number one is the quality, the real quality of your product. Secondly, how does your product line or how does your product compete with the competitors' product? And thirdly, you should consider the sales result as well. So why did I choose those three factors? Because if the quality of the product that you believe in that is higher than the competitors, you can still, consider maintaining the same price that you are selling now. Because if that price, with that price range, you are selling to the existing pool of target audience and the sales result came back very positively, then it would be, I would say a green light to go ahead and to stick with that pricing. How and again, when the competitors price, let's say, drops or increase, you should, well, as a brand owner, you should try to find out why. Like for me, when when my competitors launch out a new line of product, normally I would buy them. Like I would come and buy them and experience them to see, what should be the difference, in the product, and to actually sit down and consider and compare with our products to see, what's good, what's not, and then you make the decision to the pricing. So my suggestion is that for the reaction, you should be calm first. Do not react right away. You should consider, well, the three factors that I mentioned. Well, the real quality of product, right? How does it compare with the competitors and your target audience, the sales result? Other than those three aspects or factors, you should also consider on, like what we have discussed recently, like other factors like why. Because finding out on the why would give you a broader, like a broader picture of, why they are making that change. Is that because of their product that cannot be sell? Or if the price goes up, which means that, oh, is there a chance for me to jump in because there's a higher demand from the customer? Yeah, so yeah, that's my suggestion to you. Hope it answers your question.
Yes, it's fair, it's fair. And I have another question to ask.
Yes.
Management price setting, is it really essential to Salesforce price setting? Because I think Salesforce, they are the ones in the field that knows what the product matches with other competitors, value balance. So it's essential for management price setting to take a higher quota of total price setting.
Okay. So the price sensitivity is actually a measurement of how much the price of the product and services affects on the customer's willingness to buy.
What's up?
Okay, I can Okay, I can put it here for you. Typing, typing, typing. I can type it down for you.
Okay.
So I think, in other words, the price sensitivity is a level or a degree to which the price of a product affects on the consumer's purchasing behaviors. Um, you know, generally speaking, it is how the demand changes with the change in the cost of the product. So, well, in economics, the price sensitivity is commonly measured using the price elasticity that we talked about, the price elasticity of demand, or the measure of the change in demand based on the price change. For example, some customers are not willing to pay a few extra cents per gallon of gasoline, especially if a lower priced station is nearby. So, some other explanation can say, like what we can say is that the price sensitivity varies from person to person or from one customer to another customer. Some people are able to, or are willing to pay more for products and services than the others. Some companies and governments are also able to pay more compared to the individuals, but well, but even with one person can have different price sensitivities for different purchases as well. For example, someone may price shop. I mean, someone may shopping, by really comparing the price when they are buying, well, let's say paper towel, but they can be more focused on quality when they are looking for something that is more expensive, for example, like a dining table, for example. So basically, to me, like, for like to explain, price sensitivity is actually is a measurement of how much, like how willing your customers will buy one product or service at the cost of it. Okay, thank you. All right, class. I will give you 15 minutes break. All right. Please go eat something. And then once that we return, we will start on the next chapter. Okay, so class will resume at 8. Class will resume at 8 p.m. Okay. So let's continue. Well, I think for chapter 15, we will cover half of it and yeah, and then we will continue on Wednesday. So in chapter 15, we will discuss about designing and managing marketing channels and value networks. So the learning, okay. So the learning objectives of this chapter is to understand what is a marketing channel system and a value network, understand what work marketing channels perform, and how channels should be designed, understand what decisions companies face in managing their channels, uh, and how companies should integrate the channels and manage channels conflicts, and understand what are the key issues with the e-commerce. Successful value creation needs successful value delivery. Holistic marketers are increasingly taking a value network view of their businesses. Companies today, well, must build and manage a continuously evolving and increasingly complex channel system and value network. So the first one, let's talk about the pull and push marketing strategy. A push strategy involves the manufacturer using its sales force and trade promotion money to endorse intermediaries to carry, promote, and sell the product to the end user. The push strategy is appropriate where there is a low brand loyalty in a category, brand choice is made in the stores, and the product is an impulse item, and the product benefits are well understood. A pull strategy involves the manufacturer using advertising and promotion to endorse the consumers to ask intermediaries for the product, thus endorsing the intermediaries to order it. The pull strategy is appropriate when there is a high brand loyalty and high involvement in the category, when people perceive differences between the brands, and when people choose the brand before they go to the store. So what is the role of marketing channels? Why would a producer delegate some of the selling job to the intermediaries? And delegation means relinquishing some control over how and to whom the products are sold. Well, let's talk about the pros, like the advantages of using the intermediaries. So many producers lack of financial resources to carry out direct marketing. So, and the producers who do establish their own channels can often earn a greater return by increasing investment in their main business. And in some cases, direct marketing is simply direct marketing simply is not feasible. Intermediaries normally achieve superior efficiency in making goods widely available and accessible to the target markets and to the target audience as well. Through their contacts, experiences, specialization, and scale of operations, intermediaries usually offer the firm or the company more than it can achieve on its own. Channel functions and flow. A marketing channel performs the work of moving goods from the producers to the consumers. So it's like a bridge. It overcomes the time, place, and possession gaps that separate the goods and the services from those who need and those who want them. There are three types of channels: the sales channel, delivery channel, and the service channel. So key issue in the channel development, the question is not whether various channel functions needs to be performed, but rather who is to perform them. The channel's functions have three things in common. They use up scarce resources. They can often be performed better through specialization, and they can be shifted among channel members. There are different levels of the channel. The zero level channel, also called as a direct marketing channel, consists of a manufacturer selling directly to the final consumer or to the end consumer. The one level channel contains of one selling intermediary, such as a retailer. A two level channel contains two intermediaries, a wholesaler and a retailer. A three-level channel contains a wholesalers, jobbers, and retailers. The service sector channels. Marketing channels are not limited only to the distribution of physical goods. The producers of service and ideas also face the problem of making their output available and accessible to target population. Also, marketing channels also keep changing in personal or person marketing. As the internet and other technologies advance, service industry are operating through like new channels right now. The channel design decisions. Designing a marketing channel system involves analyzing your customer needs, establishing channel objectives, identifying major channel alternatives, and evaluating major channels alternatives. First, let's analyze on your customer's design service output levels. Marketers should understand the service output levels desired by your TA, by your target audience. The channels produce 5 service output, including lot size, waiting and delivery time, spatial convenience, product variety, and service backup. The marketing channel designer knows that providing greater service outputs means increased channel costs and higher prices for customer. Channel objectives should be stated in terms of targeted service output levels. Channel institutions should arrange their functional tasks to minimize on the total channel cost, but still be able to provide the desired level of service output. Planners can identify several market segments that want different service levels. Channel objectives vary with product characteristics. Channel design must take into account the strengths and weaknesses of different types of intermediaries. The legal regulations and restrictions also affect on the channel design. Companies can choose from a wide variety of channels for reaching their customers, from using their sales force to using or hiring the agents, or using distributors, dealers, direct mail, telemarketing, and the internet. Well, we're talking about like e-commerce or like live streaming sales right now. So each channel has a unique strengths and weaknesses. Most company now use a mix of channels, and each channel hopefully reaches a different segment of buyers and delivers the right product to each one at the least cost. You can describe the channel alternative by 3 elements. First is the type of available business intermediaries. Second is the number of intermediaries needed. And thirdly is the terms and responsibilities of each channel member. Here are some types of intermediaries. The company needs to identify the type of intermediaries available to carry on its channel work. And the company should also search for innovative marketing channels in order to support them. Sometimes a company chooses an unconventional channel because of the difficulty, cost, or ineffectiveness of working with the dominant channel. And the advantage is that the company will encounter less competition during the initial move into this channel. The companies will have to decide on the number of intermediaries to use at each channel level. Well, because you will need to consider on the number of, the budget that you have and the resources that you have. 3 strategies that are available, including exclusive distribution, selective distribution, and intensive distribution. Exclusive distribution means severely limiting the number of intermediaries. It is used when the producer wants to maintain control over the service level and outputs offered by the resellers. Often, it involves the exclusive dealing arrangement, and the exclusive deals between suppliers and retailers are becoming the mainstay for specialists looking for an edge of, in the business world. Meanwhile, the selective distribution involves the use of more than a few, but less than all of the intermediaries who are willing to carry a particular product. The intensive distribution consists of the manufacturer placing goods or services in as many outlets as possible. Manufacturers are constantly tempted to move from exclusive or selective distribution to intense distribution to increase the coverage and to increase the sales. The terms and responsibility of the channel members. The producer must determine the rights and the terms and the responsibilities of participating channel members. The main elements in the trade relation mix include the price policy, conditions of sales, distributors' territorial rights, and mutual services and responsibility. So, in distributing, sorry, in choosing the channels and in managing the channels, there's this step where you need to evaluate the major alternatives. Some of the well, each channel alternative needs to be evaluated against the economic criteria, control criteria, and adaptive criteria. In the economic criteria, each channel will produce a different level of sales and cost. The company will try to align the customer and channels to maximize the demand at the lower cost, overall cost, at the lowest overall cost. The sellers will try to replace the high cost channels with the low cost ones, as long as the value added per sale is sufficient. Using a sales agency might pose a control problem. To develop a channel, members must make some degree of commitment to each other for a specified period of time, which can lead to the control, which can actually solve the control problem. So in rapidly changing, volatile, or uncertain product markets, the producer needs channel structures and policies that provide high adaptivity. So, after a company has chosen a channel alternative, each intermediary must be selected, trained, motivated, and evaluated. And remember that the channel arrangements must be and should be modified over time, depending on, like, that's why we constantly need to do the control, like quality control. We constantly need to keep track of, the sales and the performance of each of the channel in order to make the timely decision. First is selecting the channel members. So to customers, the channels are the company. The companies need to select their channels members very carefully. To facilitate the channel member selection, producers should determine what characteristics distinguish better intermediaries. Some selection evaluation criteria include the number of years in business, other lines carried, growth and profit records, financial strength, cooperativeness, and service reputation. If the intermediaries are sales agents, producers should evaluate the number and character of other lines carried and the size and quality of the sales force. If the intermediaries are department stores that want exclusive distribution, the producer should evaluate on the locations, the future growth potential, and the type of clients. A company needs to determine intermediaries' needs and construct a channel positioning, such as its channel offering is tailored to provide superior value to these intermediaries. Stimulating channel members to top performance start with understanding their needs and wants. And the company should provide the training programs and market research programs to improve the performance of the intermediaries. The channel power. Well, it can be defined as the ability to alter the channel members' behavior. The manufacturers can draw on the following types of power, including the coercive power, reward power, legitimate power, expert power, and reference power. Some positive motivations to encourage the channel members includes the higher margins, special deals, premiums, and advertising allowance. You should, well, as a brand, you should evaluate on the intermediary's performance periodically against some of the factors, including the sales quota attainment, average inventory levels, customer delivery time, treatment of damaged or lost goods, and finally is a cooperation in promotional and training program. Well, functional discount for services rendered and unperformers, like for those intermediates who are underperforming, a few actions that you can take include, you can consult them, ask them, okay, what's wrong, talk to them, sit down with them, and find out the problem. And from there, from the problems, you might be able to offer training programs or retrain them or train them, further or more than, your regular training programs. But if they fail to perform in a long run without any, sites or chance of improving, terminating the contract is, to me, is like one of the unwanted way, but also the essential way, when, when it comes to, the time where you are unable to train or to communicate or to consult with that, intermediary. Well, when the distribution channel is not working as planned, modification is necessary. And you also need to modify the channel arrangement when your consumer buying patterns change and when the market expands and new competition arises. Also, it will be needed when innovative distribution channels emerge and when the product moves into the later stages in the product life cycle. And please remember one thing, that no marketing channel will remain effective over the whole product life cycle. The most difficult decision would be revising the overall channel strategy. The distribution channels clearly become outmoded, and a gap arises between the existing distribution system and the ideal system that would satisfy target customers' needs and desires. Some kinds of changes include adding or dropping individual channel members, adding or dropping particular market channels, or developing a total new way to sell the products. So, well, if you want to increase the sales, the channels must not stand still. So the distribution channels do not stand still, and the new wholesaling and retailing institutions emerge, and new channel system would evolve. We have the vertical marketing system. This is a conventional marketing system comprises an independent producer, wholesalers, and retailer. A vertical marketing system, VMS, by contrast, comprises the producers, wholesalers, retailers acting as a unified system. So basically, all these three parties, they work together. They have to work together. The channel captain owns the others, franchises them, and or has so much power that they will all cooperate. The vertical marketing system arose as a result of strong channel members' attempts to control channel behavior and eliminate the conflict that results when independent members pursue their own objectives. The vertical marketing systems achieve economies through the size, the bargaining power, and the elimination of duplicated services. There are three types of the vertical marketing system. Corporate, first is the corporate, second is administered, and the third is contractual. Corporate vertical marketing system combines successive stages of production and distribution under one single ownership. An administered vertical marketing system coordinates successive stages of production and distribution through the size and the power of one of the members. Manufacturers of a dominant brand are able to secure a strong trade, cooperation, and support from the sellers. When the most advanced supply distributor arrangement for administered vertical marketing system involves distribution programming that can be defined as building a planned, professionally managed vertical marketing system that meets the needs of both the market, the distributors, and the manufacturer. The last one is the contractual vertical marketing system. This type consists of independent companies at different levels of production and distribution integrating their programs on a contractual basis to obtain more economies or sales impact than they could achieve alone. So contractual vertical marketing system now constitute one of the most significant developments in the economy. There are three types of contractual vertical marketing system. First is the wholesaler sponsored voluntary chains. Second is the retailer cooperatives. And thirdly is the franchise organizations, which involve the manufacturer-sponsored retailer, manufacturer-sponsored wholesaler, and the service firm-sponsored retailer. There's a new competition in retailing. It is no longer between the independent business units anymore, but between the whole system of centrally programmed networks, including corporate administered and contractual, like vertical marketing system. And it is competing against one another to achieve the best cost economy and customer response. So we have vertical, right? And we have horizontal. So we have a horizontal marketing system, which is a channel system where two or more unrelated companies put together resources or programs to exploit an emerging market opportunity. Integrating multi-channel marketing system. Well, multi-channel marketing occurs when a single firm or single company uses two or more marketing channels to reach one or more customer segment. Well, namely, we can say that, we use both e-commerce and, e-commerce, live stream, and social media as marketing channels to reach our customer. So an integrated marketing channel system is one in which the strategies and tactics of one selling through one channel reflect the strategies and tactics of selling through other channels. The benefits of adding more channels that can help you to help the brand or the company to increase the market coverage. It can help the company to lower the channel cost and to create more customized selling. Meanwhile, there are also limitations of adding more channels. So new channels typically introduce conflict and control problems. Two or more channels may end up competing for the same customers, and new channel may be more independent and make the cooperation more difficult. Well, conflict, cooperation, and competition. The channel conflict is generated when one channel member's action prevents the channel from achieving its goal. And the channel coordination occurs when channel members are brought together to advance the goals of the channel as opposed to their own potential incompatible goals. So here are some types of conflicts and competition. We have the vertical channel conflict, which means the conflict between different levels within the same channel. Horizontal channel conflict involves the conflict between members at the same level within the channel. And multi-channel conflict exists when the manufacturer has established two or more channels that sell to the same market. So what caused it? What caused the channel conflict? So one major cause is the goal incompatibility. And some conflict arises from, unclear roles and rights and responsibility. Conflicts can also stem from differences in perception and might additionally arise because of the intermediary's dependence on the manufacturer. How to manage the conflicts? So as companies add in the channels to grow sales, they also run the risk of creating the conflict. And some channel conflict can be constructive and lead to better adaptation to a changing environment. But again, too much of something is always dysfunctional. And the challenge is not to eliminate the conflict, but to manage them better. a few mechanisms used for effective conflict management. You can adopt the superordinate goals, or you can co-optation. For chronic or acute conflicts, you can apply diplomacy, mediation, arbitration, or even lawsuits. The legal and ethical issues in channel relations. Well, you should develop any channel arrangement that suits them. Tying agreements is to sell to the dealers only if they take some or the whole line, or so-called the full line forcing. Exclusive distribution is where the seller allows only a certain outlets to carry its products. And exclusive dealing is when the seller requires dealers not handle the competitor's products. So exclusive dealing is legal as long as they do not substantially lessen the competition or to create a monopoly, and as long as both parties enter into an agreement voluntarily. Exclusive dealing often includes exclusive territorial agreements. The producer may agree not to sell to other dealers in a given area, and the buyer may agree to sell only in its own territory. Okay, e-commerce. So e-commerce marketing practices include the e-business, e-commerce, e-purchase, e-marketing, pure-click firms, and brick-and-click firms. Pure-click companies includes several kinds like these. The search engines, the internet service providers, commerce sites, transaction sites, content sites, and enabler sites. The companies must set up and operate their e-commerce websites carefully because the customer service is critical. The consumer surveys suggest that most significant inhibitors of online shopping are the absence of pleasurable experiences, social interaction, and personal consultation. Some companies are employing avatars, graphical representations of virtual animated characters that can act as a company representatives. Well, in some words, a lot of brands right now are trying to like humanize, or kind of like to humanize the brand in order to increase the communication capacity, or to increase the chance of communicating directly with the customer. And remember, you should secure ensuring the security and privacy online is very important, especially with the customers' information. You may have heard about B2B and B2C. So B2B is a business to business, and B2C is business to customer. So in B2B sites, more activity is being conducted on the B2B sites. And the impact of these sites is to make the markets more efficient. With the internet, buyers have have easy access to a great deal of information, and they can get the information from even the supplier websites, intermediaries, makers, and customer communities as well. The net impact is to make prices more transparent, and the suppliers of superior products will be able to offset price transparency with value transparency. So suppliers of undifferentiated products will have to drive down their costs in order to compete. Brick and click companies. Many companies have agonized over whether to add an online e-commerce channel. While many companies open the website describing their business, but resisted adding e-commerce to their sites. They felt that selling the products or services online would produce the channel conflict. So adding an e-commerce channel creates the threat of a backlash of retailers, brokers, agents, and other intermediaries. The question is how to sell both through intermediaries and online. There are three strategies to trying to gain the acceptance from the intermediaries. First is to offer different brands of products on the internet. You may find some examples like, you can like what they use, like online exclusive. Like, for example, you can only buy that product online with, on their website or on their e-commerce with the significant discount, for example. Second strategy is to offer the offline partners higher commission to cushion the negative impact on sales. And the third one is to take orders from the website, but have retailers deliver and collect the payment. So a lot of like brands are doing this, like website order, but then they let they give their retailers the freedom or the power to to do the logistic by delivering and also to collect the payment as well. And well, there is something called the m-commerce. So the m-commerce is when the consumers and business people no longer need to be near a computer to send and receive the information. So the whole field called telematics places wireless internet connected computers in the dashboards of cars and trucks and makes home appliances wireless so that they can be used anywhere in or near the home. This is a very good potential for the future growth in the m-commerce. Okay. Any question until now, class? Hey, oh, good. Okay. So that are the slides of today. So I will be uploading the slides on the shared Google so that you guys can also take a look later on. All right. Okay. So let's go to the last task that we have today. Attendance check. All right. So I think that most of you, oh yeah, I think that we have 18 available. So yeah, I think that everyone is here. Okay, let's just go through. So Emmanuel Ozoma,
Yes, I'm here.
thank you. Daniel,
I'm here.
okay. Samuel Echo, yes, you are here. Innocent Ikenna, Innocent Ikenna. Okay. Okay. No, yeah, I haven't called your name yet, Chibuzo, but it's fine. All right, so Tohib Shola, I think you are here. Okay, so Mintet Kaing,
Yes, teacher. I'm
okay,
here.
all right. Kim Mil Kyo,
Yes, present, teacher.
okay. Oka Paing, present.
Yes, teacher, I'm present.
Yes, Elias, you are here, I saw.
I'm here.
Yeah. Tom, you're here?
Yes, teacher, I'm here.
Okay. Olajolo,
I'm here.
okay, good. Mr. Progress, yes, I
I'm
saw you.
here.
Yeah, Francis, I saw you. Chibuzo, yes, you are here. Nailin Hatet, yes, I saw you. Tin Lai, I saw you. Cholat Yi,
Yes, teacher. I'm
okay, and the last one is Sheena.
Present, ma.
Okay, thank you. All right. Thank you, everyone. It was a very good session that we covered the 2 slides. So again, thank you for participating in the class and enjoy the rest of your week. I'll see you at 6 p.m. Wednesday. All right. Thank
Okay.
you, everyone, and good night.
Good night, teacher.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.